just when we thought this Sheryl Swoops drama was gonna blow over, things just got so much messier.
Did you hear the news that's rocking the WNBA to its core? It's a drama so intense, so unexpected, it feels like something ripped straight from a reality TV show. Sheryl Swoops, yes, that Sheryl Swoops, a name synonymous with women's basketball greatness, has just been sidelined. And the reason why? It's a tangled web involving a rookie sensation, a podcast firestorm, and accusations flying faster than a fast break. Buckle up, because this is going to be wild.
Sheryl Swoops and how she has been a certified Caitlin Clark hater for about a year now. Up until now, she has not been able to say anything nice about Caitlin Clark, nor has she been able to even speak her name. So for this specific game against the Fever, they replaced her with another WNBA legend, Nancy Lieberman.
It all started subtly with whispers, commentary that felt off, a legend Sheryl Swoops seemingly unable to utter the name of Caitlin Clark. It was bizarre. A Hall of Famer almost intentionally avoiding any mention of the player dominating headlines. This wasn't just professional critique, it felt personal, and it was about to blow up in a major way.
So I can understand why Sheryl Swoops would have an attitude with people who would question her professional objectivity. But I also understand why people would look at her like she's lost her ever-loving mind. Because you're literally putting the lack of professional objectivity on display for audiences to see, and then you're looking at us acting like what's wrong?
To truly grasp the magnitude of this drama, you have to understand who Sheryl Swoops is. She's not just a former player, she's royalty. Three-time MVP, Hall of Famer, a pioneer who helped build the WNBA. When she speaks, the basketball world listens. That's why her actions, or in this case, her inactions regarding Caitlin Clark carry such immense weight.
People were like, did Sheryl Swoops get fired? They took her off this game, and a lot of people were also happy about that because we don't know what her commentary would have been like with the Fever on the court. And so the fact that he went on about the read, talked about Nafisa, talked about Caitlin Clark, and then after that, there was like 5 or 6 seconds of literal silence because Sheryl Swoops was not jumping in. That was the point that I was like, okay, here is once again another example of Sheryl Swoops hating Caitlin Clark so much that she literally can't even say her name.
The simmering tension finally boiled over on Swoops' podcast. This wasn't just casual sideline chatter, it was a deliberate recorded platform where her views on Caitlin Clark were laid bare. And what she said, or rather what she didn't say, set off a chain reaction that no one could have predicted.
Like, Caitlin Clark is the Voldemort if Sheryl Swoops was Harry Potter. Like, literally cannot say Caitlin Clark's name. It is so bizarre. Sheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, those women were like the gold standard of basketball. So it's just so weird to me for her to just be hating. Like, there's no other way to describe it.
One of the most controversial points, Swoops appeared to diminish Clark's record-breaking achievements, suggesting they were somehow less legitimate because of an extra year of eligibility due to COVID. It was a technicality, yes, but to many it sounded like grasping at straws, a way to minimize Clark's undeniable accomplishments.
There is no one like Caitlin Clark in the history of the WNBA. I mean, you had somebody who was the all-time leading scorer in college basketball history who plays for Las Vegas, and nobody talked about her. Nobody talked about Kelsey. Wonderful player. Nobody talked about her. Caitlin Clark is just different.
Even more glaring, when discussing the Indiana Fever's post-Olympic break performance, Swoops lauded other players, praising their contributions, but conspicuously omitted Caitlin Clark's name entirely. It wasn't just a slight, it was a blatant erasure, and fans noticed, big time.
Delivered 3 cheap shots, Clark posted 31 points and 12 assists in a 19-point victory. Show White exited the game to a round of applause and then sat and watched Sleazy Reese pad her stats in the final 90 seconds.
The internet exploded. #StandWithCaitlin became a rallying cry. Fans flooded social media, accusing Swoops of everything from jealousy to outright bias. The backlash was swift, fierce, and undeniable. The online court of public opinion had convened, and the verdict was overwhelmingly against Swoops.
And this is definitely not the first time that Sheryl Swoops has thrown shade or omitted Caitlyn from her broadcast or from her podcast. Just last week on her podcast, her and her co-host were talking about the Indiana Fever post the Olympic break. And here's what she had to say about the Fever.
I think the Olympic break really helped Indiana. I'm going to shout out to Lexi Hull. I'm a big Lexi Hull fan. Lexi Hull shot the leather off the ball in their game against Seattle. Kelsey Mitchell is just stroking. She's just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double. If Indiana continues to play the way they're playing like this, they too are going to move up in the standings, end quote.
Then the unthinkable happened. The WNBA, in a move that sent shockwaves through the sports world, effectively benched Sheryl Swoops, replaced her for an upcoming game broadcast. This wasn't a slap on the wrist, it was a public statement, a clear message from the league that they were taking this drama with the utmost seriousness.
These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan,
it's been a good season.
They cannot have fucked this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried.
Why such a dramatic move? It wasn't just about one commentator or one player. The WNBA was sending a message to everyone. They were prioritizing the future of the league, and that future was inextricably linked to rising stars like Caitlin Clark. Protecting her image, her momentum became paramount.
It doesn't even make any sense, like not even a nod to Caitlin Clark, not even saying like Caitlin Clark's playing well or Caitlin Clark's leading the team. You don't even have to be that complimentary, but leaving her out completely when she is the #1 component of that Indiana Fever team and has also been playing a lot better post this Olympic break than she was before, to completely leave her out, it's so weird.
Let's be clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just a media creation. She's a phenomenal basketball player. Record-shattering scorer in college, now translating that brilliance to the WNBA. She's electrifying to watch, drawing crowds, boosting ratings, and genuinely changing the game.
If you got people in a room,
Yeah.
If you got a bunch of dudes in a room and says, let's fuck up the WNBA, we couldn't have came up a master plan what these women have done.
Look at the stats. Rookie season, and Clark is averaging superstar numbers. Points, assists, impact on the court, it's undeniable. She's not just surviving in the WNBA, she's thriving, leading her team, and proving that the hype is real and maybe even understated.
She continues to hate on Caitlin Clark, and it's basically pushing the narrative that the media and other players in the WNBA and people in general are just hating on Caitlin Clark when there seems to be no reason why. So when you start to try to figure out the reasoning, all you can think of is maybe they're jealous, maybe they think it should have been them, that maybe they don't like how much praise Caitlin Clark is getting.
The Olympic team snub added another layer of complexity. Leaving Clark off the roster despite her performance and popularity raised eyebrows. In the context of the Swoops drama, it fueled speculation. Was there something more at play? Was Clark facing resistance within the established WNBA hierarchy?
This girl is incredible. What she did in college for women's basketball, what she's doing in the WNBA.
She turned the Fever, were 1-8. They have a winning record now.
The number of attention, eyeballs she's brought to college and the pros, and for these women to have this petty jealousness.
Enter Rachel Deita, a respected analyst with a sharp tongue and even sharper insights. She didn't mince words. She called out Swoops directly, but more importantly, she diagnosed the deeper issues at play within the WNBA, sparking a crucial conversation.
You say to yourself, damn, what is going on here? And
well, you got accused of that stuff too, with the older players being resentful of the new generation. It's kind of part of the basketball process. Everybody thinks their generation's the best.
No. Anytime we say something about guys, it ain't the old get off my lawn guy.
Yeah.
But the stuff toward her is petty and jealous.
Deita's analysis pinpointed a potential generational divide, a tension between veterans who built the league and the new generation of stars like Clark, who are taking it to unprecedented heights. Was this conflict about jealousy, respect, or something more fundamental about the evolution of women's basketball?
So Stephen A. Smith called her out and she clapped back on Twitter and she said, "You talk about whomever and whatever you want on your podcast, correct? So why can't I? Also, did you listen to the entire episode? Nope. I have a personal relationship with these players and they deserve recognition as well."
Data challenged the very notion of veteran shade, asking if it was actually hindering the growth of the WNBA. Was this negativity towards rising stars ultimately damaging the league's potential? She urged a shift in perspective, celebrating new talent, not viewing it as a threat.
Essentially, like, you're employed by the WNBA. Everything that you're doing is around the WNBA. It's not a good look. And it's especially not a good look because you are a legendary player yourself. Before all of this, I was a Sheryl Swoops fan. I feel like any player growing up in the 90s, early 2000s, like Sheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, those women were like the gold standard of basketball. So it's just so weird to me for her to just be hating. Like, there's no other way to describe it as she's just like clearly hating on Caitlin.
In the aftermath, Swoops took to Twitter, engaging with Stephen A. Smith, but her responses were complicated. Some saw it as doubling down, refusing to acknowledge the criticism. Others saw it as a clumsy attempt at damage control, further entrenching her in the controversy.
About the fact that there's been some haterade being thrown in her direction, okay? Because there's no excuse to have resentment towards her.
Down, and she said, "Do you talk about them or others in the league and give them their props? I really hope y'all take all of this energy to the polls and vote." What? Vote? On what? Like, it's so weird to then, I don't know. It's just like, I'm speechless.
Stephen A. Smith, never one to shy away from drama, jumped into the fray, amplifying the Swoops-Clark saga to a massive mainstream audience. His passionate takes, his pointed questions, brought the WNBA drama to viewers who might never have otherwise paid attention.
But she is a big voice in the WNBA, and so for her to be perpetuating and not shutting down the fact that she just clearly hates Caitlin Clark is, I don't know, I've said it a million times, weird. And Sheryl Swoops seemingly disliking Caitlin Clark hasn't just happened in the past couple months. This actually dates way back to when Caitlin Clark beat the NCAA scoring record for both the men and the women.
This whole situation forces us to ask, can sports commentary ever truly be objective, or is it always filtered through personal biases, experiences, and generational perspectives? The Swoops controversy became a case study in the complexities of sports media and the line between analysis and opinion.
She said that Caitlin Clark is a 25-year-old beating up on young kids, which she is currently 22. She said that Caitlin Clark takes about 40 shots per game, but Caitlin Clark had 22.3 field goal attempts for just this past season at Iowa, and she had 19.7 for her entire career at Iowa, while actually Sheryl Swoops averaged 24.9 shots per game in her 2 years at Texas Tech. The last thing that she had to say about her was that the all-time Division I scoring record that Clark broke isn't legitimate because she had a 5th year of eligibility due to COVID-19.
Love it or hate it, the Caitlin Clark era in the WNBA is here. Her impact is undeniable, and the league is clearly positioning itself to capitalize on her star power. The Swoops drama, in a strange way, might be a catalyst, forcing the WNBA to confront its internal dynamics and embrace its exciting future. The dust may have settled for now, but the questions linger. Has the WNBA truly addressed the underlying tensions? Will veteran-rookie dynamics shift? And what will be the long-term impact of this unprecedented drama? The WNBA is at a crossroads. What do you think happens next? Let's discuss in the comments below. And to stay locked in on this evolving story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all the latest updates.